Whole Cake Island is the most important arc in One Piece since Marineford, and people have a lot of expectations when we see the Straw Hats go deep into Yonko territory. Reflecting on Big Mom and her crew now that we're nearing the end of the arc, I think they're good characters, but the way they've been shown has resulted in some unsatisfying chapters for me. There's a hard balancing act to do here, as the Straw Hats can't get completely destroyed in this arc, as that wouldn't be satisfying and wouldn't give us any plot progression, but at the same time the Yonko's crew can't be undermined. Because of this, the way Big Mom's personality is, essentially still being a child and holding tantrums, means that the Straw Hats managing to escape our territory is believable. For the first half of the arc, I was pretty disappointed with how well everything was going for the Straw Hats. Cracker had been defeated, Brook copied a poneglyph and even managed to wound part of Big Mom's soul. She didn't seem threatening, and these feelings kept building up until her backstory, which is one of the most gratifying moments of the arc as the horror of the kind of person she is was revealed. All this time wondering how the Straw Hats have gotten so far, how Big Mom is allowing this, everything made sense when realizing she's essentially still just a kid with a big sweet tooth. Her hunger makes her so unstable that she'll kill her family and destroy her own territory until there's nothing left, and realizing that someone who thinks in such a simple way has such power was genuinely terrifying. This big reveal of how horrifying a character she is paid off because of how indifferent I was to her beforehand, and I'm really impressed with Oda's writing in this regard. The scene following her backstory showcases the most obvious trait of her crew. There's a shitload of them. We know very little about most of them, and a lot of these Devil Fruit users have next to no introduction. Having a rapid fire entrance of new members to our crew emphasises how overwhelming her military is, having dozens and dozens of strong family members, which results in a few moments in which I genuinely worry for the Straw Hats. It's a bit of a double-edged sword though, as I can't help but want to know more about these characters with interesting designs and powers, especially since they're higher ups in a Yonko crew. Meeting some of the best pirates in the world, I'd like to know more about them, and hopefully next time we meet Big Mom we'll get to see Smoothie kick ass, for example. That said, while the time spent with the crew wasn't as fleshed out as seeing the Don Quixote family with Doflamingo throughout the years, panels of the crew together show an interesting dynamic between them and Big Mom as they try their hardest to get everything perfect as to not annoy their mother. Having the crew constantly working to appease her again fits the impression she gives off as an unreasonable child. Speaking of the crew's relationship with her, one of the reasons the Straw Hats have gotten so far is because some members do fear her. The fear people have is understandable, and having crew members act based off of this further emphasises how unstable Big Mom is as a captain. The Straw Hats managed to get so far partly because of Opera's fear of his mother killing him, but the idea of the Straw Hats managing any of this is still unreal to me. With the Tamati Bako exploding and Zeus joining Nami, they've been pretty lucky even if it all makes sense, and I can't help but feel that they simply shouldn't be fighting in Yonko territory. The arc is filled with long stretches of the Straw Hats steadily making progress before they get completely overwhelmed and the cycle repeats itself, and I respect Oda for making both sides seem competent. Scenes like Big Mom taking out Luffy off screen and one-shotting Judge are some of the best, most frightening moments in the arc, in One Piece for me, and I can't help feel somewhat dubious about the Straw Hats' progress. Luffy has stayed behind in the latest chapter, and I hope he has difficulty getting back to his crew as a reminder of how dangerous what the Straw Hats did was, as so far they've fared far better than Big Mom's crew has. Pedro seemingly died, sure, but he's a fairly new character littered with death flags, so I didn't feel much for his sacrifice, especially since this is the second time he's blown himself up. Overall, when Oda accentuates the frantic elements of the arc coming from the massive crew Big Mom has, there are some great moments. It does have the downside of a lot of seemingly strong characters being sidelined however, and it's a real shame. Assuming we'll see more of her crew in the future, this shouldn't be too big a problem, but it still doesn't dispel my current feelings of wishfulness for more screen time for these people.